Straight ahead on CCX News.
I'm very proud of what we've done.
Brooklyn Center's departing mayor looks back at his 12 years in office. Plus, a nonprofit that helps the Northwest Metro now could use a little help of its own. And just in time for the holidays, a story that comes with style.
The way to express yourself. You know, your hair is, your biggest accessory.
CCX News starts right now.
As the year winds down, local cities are ratcheting up budget talks. In Brooklyn Park, the City Council debated a budget increase that's more than 3% higher than last year's.
I'm just going to state that I will not be supporting the budget and explaining my no vote because we've taxed the citizens $1.8 million plus every year, which means the body up here needs to learn to live within your means. Based needs versus wants.
In a discussion that lasted more than an hour, city leaders examined the 2019 budget, which totals $147 million. It includes increases for cost of living and health insurance coverage for city employees. Councilmember Mark Maida questioned costs associated with the golf course, vehicle replacement, and salaries. But in the end, the budget passed on a 5-2 vote.
12 years ago when I took office, we had the housing crisis, we had crime, we had all these things, and all these things, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they are so much different. The conversation at those doors is 100% different this summer than it was 12 years ago, and it's because we invested in police, we invested in root cause analysis, we invested in youth. People feel better. I think that matters.
The Brooklyn Park City Council approved a $47 million increase in the operating levy. For the median value home of $228,000, homeowners can expect to pay nearly $93 a month, a slight increase from 2018. Tim Willson has been Brooklyn Center mayor for 12 years. He presided over his last city council meeting a week ago. Reporter Sonia Goins walks us down memory lane, taking a look at his accomplishments.
It's going to be a lot of hard work, but ready to roll up my sleeves and start in.
The year was 2007, and Mayor Tim Willson was newly elected. He couldn't wait to tackle a host of hardships.
Crime is an issue, housing, maintaining of the housing stock, neighborhoods, sense of community.
Redeveloping the area was a top priority.
When I first came in office in 2007, I couldn't get a developer to come into the city to even talk to us.
But just before the mayor and city council could start their redevelopment efforts, the recession hit.
It was more towards a depression for us here in Brooklyn Center.
In 2008, 1 in every 10 houses in the city was in foreclosure.
We worked with the county and the city and the state in providing funding for people to come in and buy foreclosed homes.
Things eventually improved, and city leaders got back to focusing on bringing in new businesses.
Walmart came in and said they wanted to build there. They worked with the developer. We lucked out and had the FBI building come in, a developer build, it pays taxes.
Others came too, like Top Golf and Luther Auto.
And they've redeveloped the whole area there that had all kinds of issues and problems. So
the city started a beautification project at Shingle Creek Crossing, the former Brookdale Mall area, to attract more developers.
We had interest from investment groups out of Chicago, and the first thing they'd say was, well, that's a nice looking area. That beautification really looks nice. This would be a great place to locate.
Tackling Highway 252 and busy intersections was also on the fix-it list.
That intersection there is the second worst in the state.
The city conducted its own study of the area, and it paid off. The city received federal funding.
We've almost got all of the funding in place for that.
At his last city council meeting, the mayor says he's proud of his accomplishments.
I have every confidence that this council will move forward.
Mayor Willson doesn't know what he'll do in the future.
She's a joy to be around, to be with, and I'm certainly happy to have her in the house.
But for now, he'll keep doing what he calls one of the best jobs in the world.
I'm able to to watch her during the day, and it has just been great to watch her grow.
In Brooklyn Center, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
There are some new faces in high places at North Hennepin Community College. One of them is Provost Jesse Mason.
Most of the jobs that we have now will not be here in 20 and 30 years. So it's important for students to create and design their own coursework, and they'll have that opportunity, especially at the community college and as they move on to the four-year transfer.
Mason comes to North Hennepin from Century College in White Bear Lake and is originally from Georgia. His job as provost is to come up with a strategic plan for students and faculty to address workforce shortages. Meanwhile, Julio Vargas Essex is the new Vice President of Student Success at North Hennepin. His goal is to create trust and transparency on campus and to meet the needs of millennial students.
I kind of call them the Amazon generation, right? So they're used to a specific type of experience, a specific type of just customer experience. And so I always try to keep that mindset when working with these types of students.
Vargas Essex grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and comes to North Hennepin from Metropolitan State in Minneapolis. One local nonprofit is doing its part to make sure people all across the metro have clothes and shoes to wear. As Meredith Hackler reports, it could use a little help of its own.
Elizabeth Estep has been giving back to the Twin Cities for 10 years.
Meeting the food and clothing need has always been a passion of mine.
Friend to Friend Mobile Ministry not only serves the Twin Cities metro area, volunteers with the nonprofit travel across the country to provide clothing items for people who have been affected by natural disasters.
There wasn't anyone that was ready to take clothing in a way that was immediately distributable. So it kind of grew out of, I always had a closet in my house ready to give somebody what they were in need of.
The organization relies solely on donations, but recently it started renting a space in Ham Lake to store all its clothing, which has caused a financial strain.
We are now paying rent, which up until this last year, we've been blessed with donated space, or we were operating out of my garage, and we didn't have that rental expense. And now that we do have a rental expense, it doubled our budget.
The organization serves around 1,000 people a month. Its budget goes to rent, gas, and insurance for the vehicles.
If maintenance comes up and needs to be done, one of our volunteers usually says, I'll buy that tire, or I can weld those hinges on the trailer. A lot of donated hours. Nobody's paid.
Well, some people may not understand why Elizabeth donates her time.
These are humble tears. They're just like, why wouldn't you do this if you knew you could make that impact for somebody?
She says people's reactions are priceless.
You just don't get tired of hearing someone say, I just prayed for this, and it turned up on the trailer.
In Ham Lake, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
The organization travels all over the metro area to provide clothing for those in need. To find out where their next stop will be or to donate, you can visit our website, ccxmedia.org. In today's example of holiday spirit, a Minnesota Twins fan used his love for the team to start a coat drive that's grown beyond what he imagined.
It kind of started with Justin Morneau's coat drive, and he's my favorite player, and this is his 9th year he's had it.
That's Todd Vreeland, who works at Standard Water Control Systems in Crystal. He and the company led the charge to collect around 3,000 coats that are donated through the Justin Morneau Foundation to the Salvation Army. The coats come in from different drop-off spots all around the area.
I believe Robbinsdale PD came up with somewhere around 70 coats that were donated by community members, employees of the police department. So we had several different people that were donating.
People kind of just come in on a whim and drop off whatever they have.
Now here are some of the pictures from when the Salvation Army came to collect all of those coats last week. They needed big vans to transport all of them. The Robbinsdale Crime Prevention Association also donated money to help with coat collection costs. Still ahead, a fresh look at the hair industry as one haircut chain celebrates 15 years in Maple Grove. Plus, it's a great battle as Maple Grove and Blaine need overtime to decide their boys hockey matchup. But first, a dash for the car wash. Highs in the 40s likely on Tuesday. It's an an industry that is constantly evolving. It's also very competitive, but there's one haircut chain that feels it has a unique approach to help it stay on the cutting edge. Just like the hair industry itself, Fantastic Sam's is evolving. It underwent a branding makeover not too long ago, and as Corey Bork reports, it recently celebrated 15 years in Maple Grove, which you may not realize serves as the company's regional headquarters.
So now, what have you been up to lately? Been shopping?
During that time of year for parties and get-togethers, the rush is on in Crystal to get a fresh look.
Just reshape your layers, and then do you wear bangs?
At Fantastic Sam's, Aaron Morrison is helping one of his clients get ready for the holidays.
Kind of frame the front a little bit.
He doesn't mind the steady stream of patrons. He embraces it.
I like the volume of the clientele here. We're always pretty steady.
For Kat Held, a career in hair was inspired by her own experiences.
For some reason, I always felt like I found the wrong hairstylist to cut my hair. So that's what motivated me and has motivated me.
Now, she not only spends time beautifying hair, she spends part of her day listening.
A lot of people tell their hairstylists things that their own family doesn't even know.
And while most of her days are spent here,
why do we just all of a sudden what do you want? Do you get what I'm saying?
you may also find her here in Maple Grove, home to Fantastic Sam's Regional Training Center.
Every single week we have stylists that come through here. That's definitely sets us apart.
Stylists at Fantastic Sam's receive free continuing education to stay on top of industry trends.
We really train our stylists to really spend the time with each and every guest. I think that's unique.
Consider it a testing ground to learn what's shiny and new.
Right now we're seeing a lot of the pop colors. So you might see whether that's blue or pink or yellow or something, so at the bottom of the hair. So that's really what we're kind of seeing.
Back in Crystal, it's not just the hair that's an important part of the job.
I know it seems like it's just a haircut, but it can be so much more for a lot of people.
It's knowing you can transform someone's day.
I know that we're doing haircuts and colors and waxes and everything, but at the same time, you can really change a person's day.
For Business Matters, Corey Bork, CCX News.
The Maple Grove Training Center supports 100 salons and more than 1,000 Fantastic Sam's stylists throughout the state. As for the Crystal Salon we visited, it was recently recognized as one of the 50 performing Fantastic Sam's in the country. Still ahead, a light display that's a big attraction in New Hope. But first, top-rated Park Center meets another ranked team as they host Edina in boys basketball. John Jacobson is in next.
Maple Grove's boys hockey team is off to a great start this season. They played a key game Saturday against another top contender in the North Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference. The Crimson traveled to Blaine to take on the Bengals. Blaine gets the scoring started on the first shift of the game. Cole Hansen converts on Bryce Brodzinski's pass to score 30 seconds into the game. Maple Grove's Brandon Reller wins a face-off here back to Cal Thomas, and he shoots and scores through traffic. That ties the game midway through the first period. And the Crimson get one more before the end of the first. It's a 2-on-1 break. Tyler Kostelecki passes to Sam Jacobs for the goal. It's 2-1 Maple Grove after one period. This game eventually goes to overtime, and early in OT, the Bengals get a 2-on-0 break, but Maple Grove goalie Jack Winicky comes up with two big stops. He finishes the night with 35 saves. Maple Grove wins it on a great individual effort here from Kyle Kukkonen. He scores on the wraparound goal. Maple Grove is still unbeaten on the season. They pick up a big win in overtime at Blaine, 3-2. In boys basketball, Park Center is ranked #1 in Class 4A. The Pirates faced another ranked team when they hosted number 10 Edina Friday night. The Pirates pressure the dribbler, and then Datavius Frierson pounces for the steal. He gets up high for the big dunk, and it's 14-6 Pirates. Frierson steals the pass in the Edina break, sends it to Dane Danger, who makes it look easy with a Euro step move. He scores 17 points. Pirates up by 7 at halftime. Edina comes back, though. Jack Middleton's step-back jumper brings them within 4 points. Middleton with 33 points in the game for the Hornets. The Edina defender tries to draw the charge, but no go there. Tommy Chapman puts in the easy hoop. Off a missed shot, Chapman flies in for the putback, and he scores 22 points to lead Park Center, and they're up by 3. Middleton cuts and scores the layup, and Edina closes within 56-54 with 4 minutes left. But his miss turns into a quick transition for Park Center here, and Frierson throws down the jam. Park Center wins a good battle, 66-61. In girls basketball, Wayzata is ranked second in Class 4A. The Trojans look to stay unbeaten as they host the defending Class 3A champion, Cooper. Trojans have a lot of size. Annika Stewart hits the turnaround jumper plus a foul. Her free throw makes it 9-4 Trojans. Mimi Schrader with a quick inbounds pass to Mara Braun for 3 of her 13 points off the bench. Wayzata efficient offensively all night. Cooper goes on a run. Jayla Relaford pops a 3. The Hawks grab the lead of 13-12. Wayzata does a nice job closing down Cooper's driving lanes, though. The pass deflected here, and Callie Tyson scores. She had 17 points in the game. Arthel Massaquoi, relentless inside for Cooper, had 15 points in the first half, 23 from the night. Hawks trail, though, by 16 at the half. Second half, Wayzata keeps scoring. Schrader drives, dishes to Jasmine Smiley for a 3. Jenna Johnson scores 2 of her 16 points with a hoop in the lane. Wayzata rolls to an 88-59 win. That's all for sports today. Live boys basketball Tuesday night at 7 o'clock here on CCX1 as Armstrong plays Totino Grace. Shannon, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Still ahead, one spectacular light show over in New Hope. We hop aboard this light train when we come back. Christmas will be a little bit brighter for some families after a volunteer effort to provide toys. Last week we showed you David Dumas in the Northwest area Jaycees shopping for toys at Flea Farm in Brooklyn Park. On Monday they sorted through the haul and distributed them to women's shelters throughout the Twin Cities. Workers from those shelters say the toys are the key for making Christmas happy for the kids and also for the moms.
It's so fun because I think that the kids don't think that there's a Santa. And then we get like all these toys, and it's super fun for the kids and to see them because they have other things that they're thinking about, why mom and dad aren't together, why we're at a shelter. They're not thinking about what am I going to get for Christmas.
More than $3,000 worth of toys were collected for the drive.